You're currently based in Chicago. Can you talk a little bit about what the guitar scene is like there?
Well, I moved to Chicago being interested in moving into a really, really big city. And quite honestly, I think that it is very, how do you say, divided into these, perhaps like kind of going around the schools. And I don't see too much of integration going on between all these different schools that we are teaching. I'm mentioning Northwestern or DePaul, Roosevelt, or even the Columbia College. I am, I wish I would play once on that series, on the classical guitar series in Chicago, but it didn't happen. So I get other venues that I get to play. For the first time, we had this past October a guitar festival in Chicago, organized by a good friend of mine, Goran Ivanovic, and the festival is more geared towards all scopes of guitars, including jazz and crossover and Brazilian, popular styles, and then classical guitar. So I hope that he will maintain that, and that will grow, and that will perhaps be a little bit more of a central point for kind of more international visibility of Chicago. Myself, what I find very interesting is, just through the travels and teaching at a festival, etc. I find that's also an influence that helps bring in students and put Chicago on the kind of world map in terms of guitar. Sergio Assad is now living in San Francisco. He used to live in Chicago much more, and unfortunately, I mean, I'm glad for him, but I'm sad that he's not around so much. So maybe he'll come back and spend a little bit more time in the future.
You've done a ton of competitions, and I know you encourage your students to do the same. What do you feel makes competition and competing so valuable?
In particular, for us guitarists, I think it's one venue where that we need to explore, given the fact that we are not an orchestral instrument, and yet most of the people have in their minds the idea of if wanting to be a performer, to be a solo performer. It is, the market is extremely limited for solo performances, so we have to explore other, and I encourage highly to explore chamber music. But competitions, again, are one venue where young and upcoming guitarists have a possibility to achieve something, to get their face out and to show their playing, and in particular, winning a competition like GFA and having that GFA tour is really a very special prize, because it gives you a unique chance to present yourself to so many presenters in a very short period of time. So I think it's a very, very, again, I stress it as a very, I don't want to use the word necessary, but I would want to say very beneficial experience if you can go and do the competitions.
What would be your best tip for a guitarist heading into a competition?
More and more, I find that the best tip would be convinced about what you are doing and present it as a true voice that you have. I find quite a few students that are really thinking about who's in the jury, or how do they view this or that style or period or pieces and whatnot, and what they will think. And I think as long as you think too much on the outside and what others are expecting and thinking and perhaps not wanting to hear, that takes away from your energy that should be focused towards what you really have good and what you should do and what is your voice, and put that out. So stay with what you are doing. With the young people, of course, it's necessary to have a guidance and to have a good teacher who's guiding them. and to explore also their inner strengths and voices, and to bring them out. And once they are there, that's what I say, you know, go to competition and just do your thing.
Gotcha. Any other more general tips about playing or interpretation or anything?
No, I cannot give it. I cannot give interpretations. I mean, tips about interpretations. General again would be just about the music. You know, the more you focus on the music, the less you are worried about everything else. The more you are focused in what you do, and the better outcome would be. So, you know, again, look inside of yourself. Look inwards. Look towards the music, and stay with that.
Can you talk a little bit about what instrument and strings you use?
I'm still using my Thomas Humphrey 2004 Thomas Humphrey, and I'm waiting on a guitar by Steve Connor in January or February to get one of him. And the strings that I'm using, I'm endorsing and using the Addario, hard tension Addario strings.
What made you want to purchase a Connor guitar?
Well, to be quite honest, it was just much louder than my Humphrey. It even wherever I play, and I know it for myself, Humphrey is pretty loud guitar and has a very nice tone and everything. But when I in September played on one of Connor's guitars for about 3 weeks, you know, just dynamically it was such an increase, and it was less work for me to do, especially when I play with Eugenia in the duo. It helped quite a bit. And it you know, when I feel that in my playing I have a significant step forward, that to my ears the things sound better, or that I work less, that I'm getting what I want with a less effort. When I find that significant step, then I go for it.
Is there any latest CDs that you want to talk about?
Well, I want to mention the 2 CDs that we released in spring as a duo: the Balkan Project, music of all cases from the Balkan area, from the part of the world where I come from. Very, you know, most of the pieces on that CDs are commissions that we have asked different friends and composers around the world to do for us, based on melodies and, you know, songs and dances from that area. So it's a very, very dear music to me, very close to me, and very enjoyable. Lots of great rhythms, you know, odd meters, 5/8, 7/8, 9, 11, 12/8, all that sorts of things. Unusual, good arrangements, good pieces. And the second one is all pieces by Astor Piazzolla, second CD that we released for Bridge Records. And also, what is very nice about it, that most of the arrangements there were done by Sergio Assad and also his daughter Clarice. Especially the 6 flute studies, you know, written originally for flute solo, and then Sergio and his daughter wrote parts for guitar. Some other interesting repertoire on that as well. So they are all arrangements. Those are not original pieces. As you know, we have just one original for flute and guitar, The History of Tango, which we did, as I mentioned before, in '98. But these are very strong pieces, very, very good concert pieces, very enjoyable. So that's interesting. And just looking forward to one trip in December. We are going to India to play the festival, and Bhutan. So those are 2 interesting places that we are looking forward to go.